got one more Protoss versus Terran ready for you guys here in this decider match as we get ready to move into that 5th series. My name is Fear Dragon, and I'm joined by Nathanius at the desk. Have you gotten to cast any Terrans today? Yeah, I mean, you just cast the PvT.
Did the match earlier today.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, already 3 Reddit threads about how I just can't contain my bias. I talked about how he played well, which just makes
That's
me
actually the ultimate trick, is that we just make sure that you never cast a Terran series, and then people can't claim that you were biased in the series for Terran.
You know, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Someone told me I was trying to make up for lost time by being a Neeb fanboy.
I saw that.
I'm like, this is the mind game. It's like, you don't actually like Neeb. You're saying it. Blizzard paid you money to say you liked a Protoss player. Well, that's not the truth. I like Neeb because he's the only American that's... Well, we don't need to get into that. WCS America is up next, and I'll be ready.
Ready. We're ready for those memes.
I've got the voice ready. We're good to go.
But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our next series. As you guys can see, we've already had a pretty awesome day of Protoss versus Protoss, Terran versus Terran, and then some PvTs to just close things out, and I could not complain. Could not complain at all.
Yep. And if you could complain, you're probably a Zerg player because you're like, where my Zerg boys at? Don't worry.
We got you
That's
covered.
all you get in WCS America.
And they're going to be really fun Zerg games because we got later on in North America, it's like True and BioIce, who both have weird playstyles. Kane also has his own little weird mix on everything. And then Jon Snow's like the only kind of Zerg that will play like a little bit more standard, but still a little weird.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
So it'll just be disgusting. Basically, that's all you really need to know. But Terran vs Protoss coming up. souL, MaNa. I'm excited for this. MaNa's a fun player. We get to see the fun builds out of him, mixing it up and whatnot. That last series was an interesting one to say the least. Yeah,
definitely an interesting one. And of course, now it's gonna be a little bit of a Polish showdown.
Yeah,
a pull down, if you will. Sorry. I love also souL is like, okay, are we ready to go? Because then if we're not, I'm gonna go use the toilet. I'm like, we're ready. And then MaNa's like, I'm gonna go for a 10-minute walk. Let's just draw this out a little bit longer.
You know what? MaNa just wants to get his cardio in before he plays StarCraft. And can you blame him? It's important, you know. Get up, stretch your legs when you're sitting at the computer all day. Yeah. Stay hydrated. Very important.
That's what that stay hydrated bot is for.
It's like
every hour.
8 ounces of water an hour or something like that. Just drink a glass of water. Don't stop. It's great.
8 ounces of water an hour? Doesn't that...
I don't know.
Aren't you awake for like 14 hours of the day or something?
Yeah, you're really hydrated. Hey, man, I'm just saying, you know, when you're thirsty, it doesn't mean that you need to drink. When you're thirsty, it means you're already on your way to being dehydrated. Did you know that? The feeling of thirst is you're past the point where you should have already been drinking water.
Ah, okay.
If you feel thirsty regularly, you're doing it wrong.
Tell me more about feeling thirsty, Nate.
It's like I only eat normal-sized meals when I'm starving. This doesn't make any sense.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting started with our Protoss versus Terran up here in the top left-hand corner of the map. Top of the blue Protoss player, once again, from Team Liquid, he is MaNa.
I'm sure with Team Liquid, he's feeling hydrated as he goes up against his opponent in the bottom right here, our red Terran player. He is souL.
Does Poland get hot in the summer?
I don't know. It's in the northern hemisphere, so my gut says yes. My gut says that everything gets warm to a degree.
We can just be ignorant Americans on this one.
I mean, okay, the time that I've spent in Europe during the summer, I haven't spent time that far east, but I've spent time further north than that. Like, Sweden's nice and warm during the summer. You don't have nighttime over there, right, during the summer. And I would guess it's, like, somewhat-ish similar. I feel like I'm thrown off by it because I just assume that north-wise it's kind of similar to the U.S. whenever I'm in Europe, but it's not the case. I think Europe actually is a little bit further north, is what it feels like in a lot of the areas that we end up in.
I think it is a little bit further north. I think it's like, it might even be a little more similar to Canada in terms of height. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I would say that it probably is warm during the summer there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, fun facts.
I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, I did want to note, by the way, that we did have...
We got proxy.
Yeah, not only the proxy, but also MaNa was kind of sending his probe down along the south side of the map, which if you're going to see a proxy that might be ready to go a little bit closer to your main base or something along a different route,
Yeah.
that's actually a really good place to scout, but it's going to be over by his third instead.
And that, you know what this is, Fear Dragon, as well? My great discussions about how warm or cold it gets in Poland. This is ye old BS Protoss attack where you go for the fast zealot, you counter the stalker, and you go for that really, really heavy pressure, usually really heavy pressure on the natural. You hide that zealot for a moment so that the Reaper goes past it. Now we know there is no Reaper coming. It is just a couple of Marines, which means they won't be able to micro as well versus that stalker. However, Proxy Cyclone, that's gonna be really hard to deal with. If he just kills that pylon, the game is over.
That is going to get really difficult. Now, the Zealot makes its way forward and actually is going to get sniped off without getting any damage done to any of these Marines.
3 Marines. He was hoping that the Zealot would just tank Reaper shots, and that's not the
Oh,
case.
boy, this is not going well for MaNa at all. And now SCV is going to move forward and is going to see, okay. Oh, MaNa, I think he senses what's going on.
Starting the shield battery.
Needs another pylon.
Is it too late, though? Yeah, you got to get that. He's got to just send it. Send it right across. There's the Chrono on the Stalker. Probes are already getting pulled. Okay, he's going for the battery.
Ooh, second Stalker comes from behind.
Yeah,
this is actually going to be really nice.
Good control. Losing the SCV, or at least not having it there to repair really hurts. And now the Marines are here, but it's like, okay.
Oh, what are they going to do?
3 Stalkers.
I
throw to me, I throw to you.
Yeah, that was. I really don't like that
down.
he continued with the Marines.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of that. Okay, we don't need to get into GSL spoilers yet. It has only been 12 hours.
Wow, Nate, spoiler alert. GSL happened yesterday?
It's not even been 12 hours. I want to go in. I want to go in on it. But
is that your rule, 12-hour rule?
You know, during WCS America, I'll spoil it, you know. There you go.
It's just
well, in America, it was on at watchable hours. And
we're going to be watching ZVZs. It's like, by the way, spoiler alert, in that Terran versus Zerg or something, or Terran versus Protoss.
How do you know? There's a Terry Z last night? How do you know?
I saw a little bit of GSL right before I went to bed.
You're spoiling that there was a Terran versus Zerg Fear Dragon. You're terrible. You're gonna get ripped in.
Those are the announced groups.
Oracle on the way with another command center for souL. Man, what a weird start to this game. Both players did something like kind of aggressive, and they both just completely flopped.
All right. Well, we'll see how things pan out from here. The fact that the factory is not really making anything is not the end of the world either for the Terran player, but it does mean that MaNa also doesn't have to worry about certain things, like having to worry about Widow Mines or anything for his Oracle making his way across the map.
Yeah, that factory is kind of weirdly... Yeah, okay, he's bringing it back inside now.
He was originally putting it at the front, which is what you were referring to, yeah.
That reminds me of the old days when you would have like these pushes on Yansu. Back when, you know, the factory was completely useless in this matchup. I guess it was even further back usually because you still had Widow Mines in Heart of the Swarm. But in Wings of Liberty, when you would just float your factory across the map to scout, and then you would land it in front of their army to like mess with the AI of all their units and block charge zealots.
I remember that.
That's what it was making me think about. I'm like, well, he's got the factory right in front of his bunkers. Like, does he think it's that bad?
I remember that especially because it was like the one Terran player on NA, it was Drunken Boy, was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make Hellions versus Protoss. Protoss just wouldn't know what to do about it.
Well, that also reminds me of one of the greatest games of all time on Frost, which was Daishi versus I don't remember who, and he literally killed a Protoss by just maxing out in like 11 minutes.
Just, oh my god, that was... Watching Hellions kill Colossus is something that just burned into my mind.
Starcraft I've ever seen in my entire life.
One of the greatest matches.
And I will never forget it.
All right, well, the Oracle's going to be moving forward, and actually do find the Cyclone kind of by itself. It's going to be protected by that missile turret, so we'll be able to survive for now. But third base is going to be kind of annoyingly placed. If he throws in a stasis trap, it can prevent him from landing.
He's like, what are you going to do anyway when it lands? Is he going to drop heals here? What are you going to do?
Make an SCV, I dare you.
He's going to make one, wait for the Marines to come out. He's like, okay, now I can try to go poke the main base again. I would have liked to see the Oracle sort of burn that energy out, like, you know, gunning down the reactor or going for stim.
Yeah, almost kills a Marauder.
There is no worse feeling in the world than when the Oracles are attacking the tech lab and you like start to play your SCVs but you're like, are they going to get there in time? Oh, I don't know if they're going to make it. There's nothing
that's true. There's no better feeling.
And then when Oracles deny your stim and then they revelate
Ooh, Stalker's moving forward. This is actually really cute because just abusing the fact that the army's going to be very split up, knowing that there might be a slight chance there. But as Stim encroaches finishing, I think that's a place where the Stalkers don't really want to be anymore.
Nope. Especially without Blink. Going into Colossus, getting the armor upgrade. But that does tell me, if he's going for armor at this point with Colossus, even though he already has Stalkers, should be seeing the Twilight in charge sometime soon. He has Twilight.
Wouldn't hate it too much, but the drop is going to be moving its way across the map. The Stalkers are all sitting over between the natural and the third, and there's not really a whole lot inside that main base. Couple of warp gates are off of cooldown, so you can warp in 2 Stalkers. The Oracles can help out a little bit, but this is mostly just going to be buying time for now.
Yeah, it does focus down one of the Oracles. I really like that. He's trying to pick off those air units of the Protoss. If you can get the Phoenix, and the Medevac can dance around a lot more easily.
Yeah.
And you know what is interesting to me, Fear Dragon, is that we have the armor upgrade, which makes sense for Zealots, and a couple Zealots were added. But now, actually leaning heavily back into the Stalker count, warping in more of those, getting Blink. And the Stalker, we all know, really likes those attack upgrades. I do find that interesting that it's not like a rush up to like +2 attack, which is pretty common considering the way that the Colossus damage scales, and also its bonus damage versus light that it has now.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit surprised by that. I feel like the effectiveness of the Colossus, the armor, of course, survivability is always nice. I'm not gonna give a bad rap for that. But Marauders don't have attack split in 2 anymore. They're gonna demolish everything regardless of whether you've got +1 armor.
Yeah, the +1 weapons upgrade oftentimes pairs a lot better with those Colossus, but this could just be a kind of one of the fake-out Colossus moves where you get up two Colossus, then you just go into Disruptors, which is, I think, a very common tactic for Protoss.
And he's getting the second Forge, so he just have the later attack upgrades, going faster into +2 armor. I always love the armor upgrades, as we see this drop finally get cleared out. 8 probes go.
Yeah, a good amount of damage honestly done for those the 2 medevacs that look to try and get some damage done, but at the same time, we also have a 4th base being established over here for souL. MaNa, I think he wanted to establish one in the top right for a little bit, but didn't really find the opportunity to actually get it up, as I think the drops actually were able to cancel it.
You know, great thing that souL's been doing today, and I gotta compliment him on this, is he's been doing a really fantastic job of not only putting on the pressure, but taking bases behind it. Really been on top of getting those expansions up, building the 4th on location, not showing fear, and MaNa starting to move out a bit. It's gonna be a tough hole to stop this army, but he's got the money, he's got the income to make it happen. It's gonna be very interesting to see how well he can do here. We're talking about a low amount of tech units though, Fear Dragon. Not a lot of medevacs, not a lot of liberators.
The medevac count being so low is gonna hurt, especially when one of the medevacs is on the other side of the map. Widowmine's not quite able to get the damage on that they wanted, and another one of those medevacs is gonna go down. There's only liberators on the way as well, so there's 1 medevac to heal up this entire army.
Yeah, that sucks. Another thing I really like though, we're talking about good things about souL before this Colossus army cuts his head off, is getting advanced ballistics again, but also sensor towers.
Yes.
You don't see enough of them.
Did a great job with those sensor towers also in the TvT. Didn't quite pan out his way, but I really like the way that he was just staying very informed about any movements, especially in a matchup like TvT where one slight mismaneuver and you're suddenly out of the game.
You don't see it enough. You don't see enough sensor tower usage from Terran players, and I like that. I like that souL's been busting them out, because all the previous complaints about gas count with how aggressive Protoss players can be these days, you need to be on top of everything. Now, advanced ballistics is not done. Disruptors are coming up. This is a really tense moment.
Yeah, but I love that MaNa was able to bait out a stim that early on, and now the stim is going to be expiring before the next engagement. And Colossus, not as much a fan of that for MaNa, but the Disruptors, I mean, remember, oftentimes Terran players will try and split up their units or run them away versus Disruptor shots. If every one of these stims is not going to be healed up, this becomes a very timed engagement here for souL to actually push things back.
Yep, and then once he stims once or 2 more times in this situation, as you were pointing out, the Stalker and Colossus ball just rolls over that. You're gonna be like 2-tapping these Marines. Now look at this, Liberator range is done, but so quick to the draw as he blinks and grabs that medevac. MaNa has +1 Protoss air and a fleet beacon with an extra Stargate.
Oh yeah, that fleet beacon's gonna be causing some problems for souL if this game gets elongated, but MaNa is just constantly dancing back and forth between those 2 locations.
It's so weird. It's so weird, because he sends out that drop when he doesn't have any medevacs, and now he's sending out another drop. He still doesn't have any medevacs, by the way.
Oh, the Zealots are going to walk over it?
Yeah.
Or
And let's not forget, plus 3 armor is going to be great there.
Look how many Marauders are in this army. He doesn't even have Marines to kill the Oracle. Oh. Okay. Disruptor Shot's going to be leading the charge.
That army has no health. Fear Dragon, look at that bio army. That's it. This is
let's count the medevacs, Nate.
This right here is your rehab advertisement, ladies and gentlemen. This is what Stim does to your life.
And then, oh, it does force a recall back with the 2 medevacs, and then just goes over to this base. There are DTs to join forces with this army, though, so I don't think you want to upload there.
Yes, well, come on in, water's fine.
Well, this drop also gets cleaned up. We're down to just those 2 medevacs, and these 2 medevacs. All right, there's not going to be a fast one here.
You're like trying to fly around. It's like, actually, you should just put pylons everywhere. DTs is cleaning them up. I love it. Just having those DTs defensively. Like
that army is still not healed up, though, because...
Now he's building 4 medevacs. He's like,
wait a second. You know, my army is not healing. And
I thought Marines had 55 health with combat shells. Why do all of my Marines have 35 health?
Oh, God. This is a little off.
He stims again. Oh my God, does he even get the...
You know what's funny is I think...
Get the Colossus? Oh, my God.
Even if he gets the Colossus...
Oh, no. Okay.
If MaNa can force an engagement sooner rather than later, I mean, the medevacs are going to cause some problems here. The DTs can help out quite a bit, but if MaNa could have... no, he's going to pull all the way back. He doesn't necessarily know, but if he had forced an engagement right there, there was going to be a half paid point army there for souL. That was it.
Finally got some medevacs, and the weird thing is, stimming is still going to be a problem. Because by the time the medevacs heal all these units, they're going to be out of energy.
I don't know if they're going to actually be able to heal up everything before the engagement even starts.
Yeah, this is rough. Observer speed on the way, plus 1 shield. Our archives.
Zealots acting as or trying to act as a little bit of a flank.
Snipe the Zealots.
Yeah, Snipe's going to be useful here since there are no High Templars out, but now we end up seeing MaNa bust through the bunker defense there. Disruptor is going to be able to keep this army away from that 3rd, and MaNa going to have an opportunity to try and deny some mining here, but doesn't want to commit. Decides to back up. He has the Tempest there to try and pick away at those Liberators.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really intense. Look at that DT Zealot counterattack. And they're ripping it a little bit into the production here. I don't mind that. Picking off 1 or 2 of the barracks in this situation would be huge, considering the ability to reproduce those units. Now, getting a couple of the disruptors on the tail end of this would be really nice. Purification Nova gets some hits off. But souL is losing the racks. He's losing his ability to make more units via Dragon.
Yeah, DT is also still going to be going ham here, even after the Zealots get cleaned up. But there's a missile turret there, so he's going to be able to clean those up as well. And now MaNa's saying, okay, as long as you're distracted over there, I'm going to try and go over to this base. Planetary Fortress finishes up in the middle of this, and big EMP is down on the Stalkers, snipes off a Liberator or 2, but has to back up.
Yep.
Oh! Okay.
Let's get some of them. He loses one of the disruptors, though, goes into there. And I love this, just haphazardly throwing DTs all over the place. Love to see him get DT Blink, you know, go for a couple YOLO moves.
Wouldn't hate it. Tempest are with the Disruptor should be enough to clean this up and push this medevac drop back. But here we go. souL starting to push forward, but maybe a little too preemptively. Liberators leading the charge, not how you want them, versus a bunch of Stalkers.
That bio is so low on hit points. It's so terrifying. Like, the ghosts are coming up like, let's land the EMPs, but there's still so much on the ground.
Just one Tempest to continuously pick away at those Liberators, and I really like it. The only thing that I think is a little unfortunate here for MaNa is that he lost that Oracle a bit ago. Because if he had that Oracle, he could throw down those Revelations, and then he has the vision he needs to really maximize utilization of the Tempest.
I want to see him siege the Observer so that the Tempest can hit the Liberators. He's moving a little slow here, but he got counterattacked. Oh, the DT's focused. The turret, get the turret. Get the turret. Oh. Okay, he's got it.
Oh man, there's no scan coming out. Oh, he's gonna try and force an engagement during this.
There's one of them though. Oh my goodness. So he comes in on the left side. That's so many lives.
Oh my god, those storms.
Good god.
All right, well, that's pretty annoying and hard to deal with. It looks like the units do finally get cleaned up, except for this one DT that did not get EMP'd earlier.
These DTs can't be stopped.
I mean, the big thing is that MaNa is just trying to use the DTs there, and they're saying this requires some APM for you to clean up, and I can just leave them to just go after all your stuff. So I'm going to force an engagement at the exact moment that you need to be trying to work.
DTs picked off like 10 army supply.
8 kills.
He's going ham. Get
This
that
is-
DT of metal.
This has been a huge problem here for...
You know why he's kicking so much ass here, Dragon? Because that's the site. That's the warp blade DT. I'm a bigger fan of the single blade DTs myself.
You don't like the Tassadar DTs?
I don't like the scythe ones. No.
Oh, sorry, the Scythe ones. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Brutes Brood War style.
It's my favorite skin in the new war chest for Protoss. Literally because it guarantees I always get the one.
You know what?
One warp
I'm actually with you on that. Ooh, these Tempests though, they're going to be causing some problems. There's no longer just one Tempest. Well, it might be one Tempest soon if these Vikings have their way, but they don't quite get the kill on that weakened Tempest.
This is just an army that you can't just mass Marines against. So you're like, well, I gotta get Vikings, but once the Tempest, it's like any air battle in Starcraft 2. The momentum of the production is gonna be so big. Vikings are not cheap. souL has a bank, yes, but he's getting pushed back and he's constantly being assaulted on all fronts. Great EMP on the DT.
Really nice EMP. Unfortunately, it does come at the cost of his medevac drop on the other side of the map, as those get cleaned up very, very quickly in the exact same time. And
but look at his money. He's a rich boy.
Yeah. Oh my God, he has so many minerals. Oh, that storm. You even got a small gas bank starting to build up a little bit, but yeah, just even.
He just went into the gas bank pretty hard with the Disruptor and Tempest Edition, but he's got so much. In this situation, being able to throw those swaths of Zealots or Dark Templar at your peripheral bases of the Terran are really nice, because the only way for Terran to get around is to stim their units, and that's been a bit of a problem for souL today.
Yeah. souL never actually got a +3 armor upgrade, which I guess is not the end of the world, but... Oh my God! Oh God!
Make it stop!
Are we marked as not safe for work on the stream?
No.
Oh my God, this is... We need to up our rating after that. Oh my God.
MaNa just slam dunk on souL's face right there.
Yeah, that is...
I'm talking Space Jam style, reaching from literally across the court.
So, here's the thing, Nate. MaNa is sometimes a...
He didn't get the base though, he didn't get the PF.
He didn't get the PF, but he also did kill literally everything inside the natural. A lot of stuff over by the third. He killed off the entire army as well. Like, what's souL gonna do? Counterattack? This is why you need blank. Oh, never mind. It's fine. God, I actually love +3 weapon DTs so much. 60 damage per attack is so good.
It's insane. Yeah. Well, souL is you know, my favorite Roddy emote combo. Not bad, but still super dead.
Yeah, souL sometimes gets a little tilted.
Yeah, coming back from this situation is just so difficult. I mean, the problem was all the time that he put into getting the Vikings out to clear the Tempest. By the time he finally got there, the Disruptors and everything had killed his ghosts, and now they're still looking at all these Disruptors. He's channeling M. Canning, his spirit animal. His Patronus is M. Canning.
I mean, he can't even deal with just the Zealots right now, as the rest of the army just charges forward to take care of.
And I love the DTs. He's had DTs mixed in every single fight, every little bit of these engagements. He's like, souL, you're broke? Well, no mules for you. Boom, boom. GG.
WW. There it is. MaNa.
TerranWreck.com.
Takes the first game in this best of 3, and again, like, I'm a little worried for the mental stability of souL after that.
That game started so ugly. We have the Proxy Factory, we have the Zealot rush with the Stalker, completely smacked down by the Marine opening. 3 Marines kill the Zealot.
Yep.
The 4th Marine comes out, they bully the Stalker back. He's like, all right, I've defended this perfectly. I got a Proxy Cyclone. The Stalker goes back with the Stalker that's just made. Only 1 pylon powering everything. No problem. Deals with the Cyclone. Marines come up. They all die. And I'm like, well, both players were pretty aggro, and neither of them did anything with it. And the game just kind of like reset. I'm like, okay. And then MaNa just took control. And I thought souL did a really good job taking bases. He was moving across the map. He was dropping a lot. But MaNa, the mixing into the DTs during those big fights, that stalemate
and also just
situation,
constantly just forcing out those stims and baiting them out after seeing like, oh, you just don't have medevacs. But like, I loved, and you saw this like once or twice, where MaNa would move forward to this army, the stim would happen, and he would just kind of, he'd be okay with just backing off, which is something that you don't oftentimes see a lot of pros players having that kind of patience there.
Yeah, well, you force the stim. You don't have to fight. You're like, well, he just did 20% damage to his whole entire army for free.
He did the damage for me. I don't need to do this anymore.
Yep. And then the next opportunity that he can take to get the fight, he's just going to be ahead. I don't know that souL ever had a fully healed stimmed bio army. He was never able to do that.
Maybe maybe at like the 1 minute mark or like the 3 minute mark or something.
When stim finished.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. MaNa versus souL. Game number 2 is now underway. We're moving on to Lost and Found. We'll see how things shape up as we start down here in the bottom left on top of the blue Protoss player from Team Liquid. He is MaNa. Setting up 1-0. It's best of 3. Closing in on 200,000.
Yeah, a great first game. He's up against our Terran opponent in the northeast. He's in the red. He is souL. Wind and rain. I love it. So pleasant. And then you read the tag and it's war, and you're like, oh my god. I need some like.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Some
Yeah.
tasteless level philosophy to crunch that down.
Art of War, Sun Tzu, some random elemental mumbo jumbo.
He's it's a war. I mean, wind and rain just sounds so peaceful, you know.
It does.
That's how you get them. That's how you get them.
Okay, so in that last game, after all the crazy opening shenanigans and everything, we did also see MaNa was able to utilize kind of like the typical Protoss quote-unquote fake-out Colossus, where you get out 2 Colossus, and then you just have double Robo Disruptors being produced behind it. And we saw that souL had a hard time kind of getting prepared for that as well. And that was also part of the reason why didn't really have too many medevacs, right? Is that he was immediately forced to just say, I just need Liberators right now. So how do you feel about that kind of stuff? Do you feel like that's something you want to see out of MaNa again, or how would souL deal with it?
I don't think like the Disruptors got the biggest money hits off early on. Like getting in the siege position with the Tempest and having the High Templar, like we saw those disgusting storms by the 4th Planetary.
Yeah.
Or the 5th Planetary, excuse me, were just insane. So I like that play. The Disruptors, weirdly enough, like I think they do the job, right? Because you throw out the Purification Nova and you have to stim.
Yeah.
Or they will kill all of your bio units. So there's that. But souL gets into this weird position where the reason why he had no medevacs, I mean, obviously he was making them for most of the game, but he just tried so many of these drops, and MaNa did a really good job of shutting them down. We saw that the Oracle opening he still had the Phoenix to deal with the original drops. Then we saw him getting the Blink Stalkers, but also having the Zealots and DTs that he left at home did so much work in forcing souL to just have nothing. Yeah. The weird thing is I don't even blame souL for not having those medevacs, because when you see those Disruptors, you better be getting those Liberators with range, or you dead. Nothing's gonna deal with it as well as ranged libs are.
Yeah, very true. You need some sort of response. And okay, this game is just gonna be that 1-1-1 opening. I think that I'm trying to remember if it was him or Hero Marine that opened up with a 2-1-1 versus their Protoss opponent at some point today. But this is gonna be the more typical opening. We do actually have some Widow Mines being made. I think he tried to go for Widow Mine drops earlier today.
Yeah, it's
actually been a little bit of a haze of PvTs the past couple of series now. So
we've had a good amount of PvTs.
Yeah.
Mine drop's still very popular, still very much a thing. It's that it's almost like that roll of the dice. The mines go in. What are you gonna knock over? And I think it's like, what, if you can get 6+, you're generally happy-ish. If you get less than that, you're probably dead. It's a big investment. It delays everything to do it. But look at this, actually opening up with this fast Viking, and I do find that a little bit curious out of souL. It tells me that he's worried about this fast 3rd base he's taking, and he wants to have a little bit of anti-Oracle shove, but mostly like if a Prism comes in. It's like worst case scenario.
And we did
want to deal with that.
We did see MaNa, I think it may have even been on Lost and Found, that he had that really cool Warp Prism push that he tried to make work versus Hero Marine, but didn't quite pan out the way he wanted it to, since he took so much damage to Hellion drop. But MaNa did go for a big Warp Prism Stalker Immortal attack, and it nearly almost worked. If he had actually had an economy behind it, I think it actually would have.
Yeah, it's scary though, because as a Terran, when you go for that quick 3rd command center, it's nice. It helps ramp up the 2-base part of your economy really quickly by getting the SCV count up, and it gives you a way to mitigate that Protoss worker count advantage. As we can see, with nothing really happening in this game, MaNa finds himself up a pretty nice amount of workers. Chrono Boost helps with that. The mules are supposed to catch the Terran up, while a bunch of SCVs are not mining because they're putting together buildings. But that does mean we oftentimes see the Terran player take big attacks on the Protoss while they're trying to take that 3rd base, where they're trying to actually put the command center in that spot. Now the SCV sees that this 3rd Nexus is on the way. Double Forge is being added. And I'm wondering, what souL is going to do before he tries to land that command center onto the third, because that's where it gets tricky. Once you move past that point and then you can start getting big armies out on the map and dropping and hitting, then you can kind of put the Protoss back on that back foot situation that we oftentimes see where they're having a really hard time getting all of their tech up and being able to deal with the big bio army.
Not that many Marines over here, and with this number of Stalkers,
he could get stim.
He could actually snipe off stim.
Baby.
Oh, Widowmine gets spotted and he gets taken out, but it also does spot the Stalkers, so MaNa gonna be a little bit afraid to just immediately blink in the main.
Fear Dragon. Okay, I was gonna say, all my inner noobiness, totally worth it to kill stim at this point for these Stalkers.
Oh, that Widowmine. That was a really cleverly placed one.
Well, he finds the third, so he's gonna push this back. Even that is still nice. Stim is not done yet. The blink into the main would have been devastating. If he had been able to jump in there, if that mine wasn't there, I think he would have blinked in, and I think he would have gotten the stim. So really good on souL to have that mine there, buy himself some time. Behind this, 1-1 is on the way with that double forge. Charge is being added. Feels like a very gateway-heavy army with some immortals mixed in. I like the variation here. Well upgraded with sentries. This army is very hard to tackle head-to-head. Let's not forget the third command center has not landed and grabs the medevac on the north side of the map.
Oh, very, very nice. Observer is actually going to be able to survive there. Wow, forces a second scan.
That is the definition of pain. You look it up in a dictionary and you just see an observer with 2 scans next to it.
Oh, man. All right, well, we got some more Widow Mines being produced off of the reactor, and that is going to be the choice of unit composition here for souL. Stalkers are going to be blinking back. They kind of realize, okay, now is the time that I need to be back at home, ready to defend against any of these drops that you start sending out. I got lucky with sniping off one of them, but can't rely on that for too much longer.
Nope.
Oh, is he
and
gonna find
it's so crazy. It's like there's 2 more observers that are already here.
Doesn't notice it. Oh, I think he was probably looking for it too. Okay.
Nerf observers, Fear Dragon.
No, I think we should give him like a 1 damage attack.
I heard this great suggestion from someone the other day. It's like for April Fools, they should make the F2 key select all workers instead of army units. You know.
I think it would be great, and overlords as well.
Yeah, I'll take it. Queens too, while we're at it.
All right, Stalker's going to be blinking back, but taking a bit of damage there. He knows that the attack is coming. Scan just outside the range of that observer. He just cannot catch a break. But the Zealots are all here, and they do have charge. He's gotten ready. He's +2/+2 is also on the way as well.
This is so scary, though. Like, when you see this sort of Protoss setup, the counter to this is really, if you play slow-ish, like you build a lot of Widow Mines to deal with the Zealots, and then you just get your Liberators in your bio, and you just kind of play the ball as it lies. But if you get too aggressive, this can happen. And those Zealots and Stalkers, the mobility.
2 of the medevacs go down. The entire Marine force goes down.
I love being immediately vindicated, Fear Dragon.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man.
Got 14 probes. Did he mind drop him while this was happening?
Maybe?
Okay.
I'm not even actually sure.
He just killed 14.
Well, that's actually a pretty big deal. MaNa is still going to be on 56, so it's not the end of the world. He can still bounce back from that, but he definitely wants to get something done here. His 4th base is also on the way and going to be finishing up pretty shortly, whereas I don't know that I see a 4th base just yet for souL. So I don't think that MaNa is totally in a terrible economic position just yet.
Yeah, I think he got a mine drop off during that.
I think he must have.
On the northwest base. The workers were all kind of moved away, and the cannon has 4 kills, so I assume that
okay, you know, that would add up quite well. Well, a little Zealot run by, delaying that 4th base for a little bit longer, but now
Storm is on the way, by the way, and that observer can see everything.
The observer's just like, okay, so that's where all your Widow Mines are. That's where all your Liberators are. That's good to know. And this just oh my god, AC is the load up for the 4 Widow Mines again.
Those Stalkers, imagine if he blinks and grabs that one too.
I think he's knocking down the rock so he can move over.
Keyboard in half. Give yourself a good reason to buy another one, because you need to treat yourself right now. If that
Where did there's still only 1 medevac on the map. He actually
finally gets the observer.
Yeah. I guess he decided not to go for the
he brought it back.
Yeah.
Mines are really important. I actually really like drilling claws against this.
Whoa. 1 Liberator getting picked off. There's the big stim forward. Oh, the War Prism gets sniped off with all the units inside, but the Widow Mines, they betray the Bioforce. this?
Well, they killed every single Zealot Spear Dragon, so I actually think with the Liberator support and the few extra mines, I don't know why souL is still fighting against this army. I think if he pulls back, he'll be okay. If he loses everything,
I think he's going to lose everything here, Nate.
If he loses all those Marauders, I think the Stalkers and Immortals will try to kill him. And
oh my God.
Zealot warping
okay, even with the Widow Mines, if they all go off and kill off all these Stalkers, I still like this situation so much for MaNa. Even with those losses, he can now just barrel forward to the third with the Zealot Warp.
Yeah, I do feel like it could have been a lot worse, and he needs to re-wall that off, but when you get those mine hits off on the Zealots like that, you were talking about how the friendly fire betrays them. Well, bring your bio back. Sit behind the Liberators. Let yourself heal up. It's nice to kill the Stalkers because they're expensive and your bio units build quickly, but it's this follow-up. Because your opponent is playing this style, it's not like, oh, those Stalkers are irreplaceable because he's building Colossus and Tempest. No. He's building Zealots. And he's building more Stalkers. That's all he wants to build.
Yep.
The Protoss can trade. The Protoss can trade versus Bio when they play this style because he's got that economic advantage on the fourth base. And as a Terran, you need to lean back, get your libs up. And I think I saw Maru or someone do this, like get the second factory with drilling claws. I've been doing that as well. And versus this, I really like it.
Well, now that Storm is out, this whole situation gets very complicated. Okay, decent Widowmine connection with some of the Zealots, softens them up a little bit, but
he's stimming so much too. The Medivacs also have no energy. His whole army's fighting at 60 or 70% of its...
Oh, the Stalkers are just focus firing down the third base. If it gets the third, there's not really a whole lot to fall back on, but finally we end up seeing the armies just engage versus each other instead.
I love this style. This style from Protoss is so fun to watch. It's so good, and MaNa cleans up. Really fun game to watch there. MaNa doing a great job of showing how you can bully the Terran player with a lot of gateway units. You mix in 1 or 2 Immortals because it keeps them from diving on you. And then if you can have a Sentry for Guardian Shield, great. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. It does help a lot with the Zealots, but you just rely on having so many units, and picking off those Medivacs as well just made it feel impossible for souL.
Yeah, the double forward style when you're forcing stims constantly out of your opponent and your units are also just doing more damage and they're not dying very quickly, like all of those things really start to, I guess, add up. And souL so insistent on trying to go for these medevac drops and also trying to transition to those Liberators so quickly on low medevac counts, I think it really ends up backfiring a lot for him there.
Yeah, I completely agree. He split himself up a lot, and every single mine that he threw at his enemy would have been very, very useful held back at home. You can't really get out on the map versus a style of Protoss like this until you are at that maxed out point, and I think that securing the fourth base is maybe the most important thing you can do against this style.
All right. Well, congratulations to MaNa. He does advance on out as we see a little bit of a recap of our European group today. Group C, we had, of course, Hero Marine having a pretty solid run through today. Drops 1 map to MaNa, but overall gets that 4-1 victory out of the group. And MaNa having a little bit harder of a road, but does manage to overcome souL and just to make himself out of the group as well.
Yeah, great job by Big Gabe asserting himself once again as the European Terran to keep your eyes on. And he's been doing great. Fun to watch him play. Really, at least, one of our consistent Terran players. And great matches here for WCS Europe today.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, as mentioned before, we do have those players just joining the fray with the other players who've made it out of our European groups thus far. Of course, Alazer, Namshar, souL, and Euthermal, the players that made it out of Group A and B. And now with, of course, Hero Marine and MaNa joining them, we're going to find out tomorrow who joins them in Group D.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not done with WCS Challenger just yet. We still got WCS America coming up. And let me tell you, you may be a little bit hesitant because you might have heard us talking about how there were 4 Zergs. This is going to be ZVZ, unlike any normal ZVZ you've ever seen. You're going to want to see this, so please don't go anywhere. We'll be back with WCS America.